Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Miss Honeybee Show. And today's guest is,
Hi, y'all. It's your man Julian Andres Boothe from.
well, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, so please tell everyone who you are.
My name is Julian Booth. I'm a music executive and filmmaker. Um, I guess where people would know me from, if they do know me or have heard my name, um, a lot from Love and Hip Hop Miami. But basically, I'm a music executive. I've been linked to. I've had the pleasure actually of being able to discover artists like Pitbull, and basically helping and breaking the Miami music scene through Luke Records, Slip and Slide Records, which include Trick Daddy, Trina, Plows, Rick Ross. And then I broke off on my own and I launched another artist by the name of Amar La Negra and the whole Love and Hip Hop Miami franchise. And now I've moved on to more on my writing and directing side and producing side for film. So we just finished a film called Ballin', that we have coming out July, and another film that I wrote and directed called The Night Shift that'll be dropping Halloween this year.
Well, very nice and
Thank
congratulations.
you very much.
You have been busy.
I'm trying to definitely
Yes.
stay busy.
So, what's it like working with Uncle Luke? Or shall I
Uncle
say,
Luke,
Mr. Luke?
Uncle Luke was such a great mentor. Now, I know most people who, if they know Luke and grew up on Luke's music, you would think like as soon as you get to his office, there's like, you know, 100 naked girls running around. Because that's what I thought. And I was, super young when I first started with him. And, I
Right.
thought it was just going to be a nonstop party, but it was actually the opposite. It was actually a lot of work. Um,
Strictly
it was
business.
very much business every day. There was a lot of partying, but it was maybe
hmm
5% of the time. The other 95% was work. Like it was
Okay.
just constant work, but it was such a great way to learn about the music business. Um, Especially for myself, being an independent, uh, having independent record label, having independent film company, he definitely taught you how to be independent because he was one of the first guys to do it fully independent with no help and be able to succeed at a level that he did.
So, out of all the people you've worked with, because I'm sure you worked with others, but he was exactly your mentor, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Would you say that just going through your journey that you have learned a lot from him, but who else would you say has actually loved that to where you felt like you could take something from that and give back to the world to teach others and as well as, you have learned from yourself?
Um, I feel like everywhere that I've worked, I've been able to learn. Before even Luke, I worked at it was a management company for artists. They had Chris Cross, if you remember Arrested Development,
Of
Jermaine
course.
Dupri. It was actually Jermaine Dupri's father, Michael Molden. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it was his company and his partner, Philip Calloway. Um, they had this management company, and that's where I started. And I learned management from them. And then when I went over to Luke and they were managing Luke, and that's how I met Luke. And then when I went to Luke, I started to understand the record side of the business. And then when I went to Slip and Slide, same thing. I was able to understand working with majors, and being a sub label. So everywhere that
Mm-hmm.
I went, I just got so much knowledge, and it was a lot of trial and error over the years, but it helps build you for the future. And that's why I'm able to now be able to run my own company and know what to do because I was always put in a position to learn everybody's positions and different jobs from the majors all the way down to the independents.
So, with that being said, would you say when you went through everything you've gone through, what kept you? What just kept you steady? What kept your mind to where you knew that even through the dark times that everything was going to be okay?
I have to thank my father for kind of instilling into me kind of what you see when Kanye talks about his mom, when
Mm-hmm.
parents kind of instill into you that you can do anything,
That's right.
and my father, and at the time when you're a kid, you don't really understand it and you don't appreciate it until obviously when it's
Mm-hmm.
too late and they're not here anymore. But then you look back and you start to
Right.
understand the person you're becoming and why, you are relentless or obsessed with something, you know? And,
Exactly.
I know that there's nothing that I can't do, and I feel that that has a lot to do with my father, but both my parents, but definitely more on my father's side, where he was just so ambitious. And even though he didn't get to where he wanted to get to, he definitely got far from where he came from. And, he just put that fire in me where, I don't ever do anything for money. I always do it for the success of whatever that I'm working on. And then money always follows. And I feel like when
I
you when
agree with
you
that.
when you have that type of drive and determination, like it's really limitless of the things you can do.
Hmm. So I've heard someone say quantity over quality, but I'm always about quality. So what would you say? Because I
Um,
feel like everything else will come in numbers.
that is a great question because I'm very
Hmm.
neutral on that. And it depends on what you're talking about, right? So
Hmm.
I do believe, and you know what? To answer that for a yes or no, it depends on who the person is asking, right? As a film director, then it's definitely quality over quantity. I would rather make 10 incredible films, right, in my lifetime and make sure that all of them are at such a high quality that they're amazing as a director.
Exactly.
But as a
Hmm.
film studio head, I want 100 films, and I'm okay if that 50 of them are just okay because I'm thinking of the growth of the company and I want the company to be big.
Hmm.
So I would rather have 100 films and still the 10 be good, but the other 90 be okay, some great, some good, some can be terrible. But as long as they're all generating money for the company, I'm thinking more for the company than I am just the creativity of one person. So I'm always
Right.
caught in the middle of that where it's quality over quantity or quantity over quality because I do want to, my goal is to grow my studio to the point of a Tyler Perry, but I want to be able to branch out and give other young directors and producers opportunities and be able to build them up and give them a space where they can have the quality, right, over the quantity. But if somebody can come and crank out 50 movies for me and they're good, I will also take that because again, I
Exactly.
need to build the company. So that's a great question. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, now a lot of people don't know that you work with VH1. So, and took it down south to where you was working with Trina and Trick Daddy. And so,
Well, how that came
what
up,
was that like
how that came
working
about
on the set?
with
Hmm.
VH1, it was everything was Mona Scott. Mona Scott is the creator of Love and Hip Hop, incredible producer. Um, she, funny enough, it was I called her one day and I said I was watching I think Keisha Cole's reality show, and I told her I was like, man, Trina is nothing but a rap version of Keisha Cole, and I feel like where Trina was in her career, like TV would be great now. Right. This is like almost
Hmm.
8 years ago, going on 10 now. And she agreed. And she was like, yeah, I would love to do something with Trina. I've been trying to get her on the show. And I was like, she doesn't want to do Love and Hip Hop, but I would love to do like a solo show with her. So we did the contracts and everything, but it never could get past VH1. Like they liked her, but they were like, so then Mona called me and she was like, listen, Julian, get her to do Love and Hip Hop Miami. Let's build her up on TV. It's going to be literally her show. And then we could talk about doing a solo show later on once we build her up. And boom, 8 years later, they're still killing it.
Still
New York
going.
got canceled, LA got canceled. It's just us in Atlanta. So,
Mm.
we did a really great job putting that together. They really casted everybody who I was working with. It was Pretty Ricky at the time, Trina, obviously Trick through the years. I've known him. Who else? In first season, it was like Michelle Pooch, Shay Johnson, who's still on the show now, great friend of mine. So yeah, man, it was a great it's a great platform. I was able to break Amara Negro on the show, because I had signed her and I put her on the show, and she's still there kicking ass. So it's been a great 8 year run so far.
Okay, good. And congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Now, oh, yes, you're very welcome. Because you have definitely done a lot, like I said, over your journey. So, would you say that you are self made or you give it to a higher power?
Definitely a higher power. I mean, nothing can be done without. I never push any religion onto anybody. I just believe that whatever you believe in, as long as you believe that there's a higher power than yourself, then we're good. So,
Amen.
I think when you look at all religions, there's always a similarity of a higher power, and that's the key thing. So it's whoever you pray to, whatever you believe in, as long as you know that there's something more and something bigger out there. But you can't you
Right,
you
I
you
agree.
cannot do it without that person, you know.
Mm-hmm. Good. So, with your journey and everything you've been through, what would you tell the young people that are actually trying to get into this field?
Don't. No. I'm very hard on the youth because they're lazy. They're not built like us. And when I talk, when I'm giving inspiration, and people always have me come and speak, and I'm like, I don't know why, because I'm not going to be nice, but I'm the amount of not nice that either you're going to look at me and you're not going to like me, or you're going to try to prove me wrong. And if you try to prove me wrong, and if that ignites you and that makes you mad, that's exactly what I was trying to do. I want you to be upset because it takes so much to do and to be great, to build anything. It takes so much of yourself to create something and to go and market it day after day, month after month, week after week, year after year. And for you
Mm-hmm.
to fail, 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 and not see anything, and then one day you hit it. It takes somebody telling you, yeah, bro, I don't think you're gonna do the work. But then you're like, I'm gonna show you that I'm gonna do the work. And that's what I would,
Right,
and
prove
yeah, like
themselves.
that's what I want from you. Because if I just tell you, hey guys, work hard every day and go out there and kick ass, everybody tells you that. I'm telling you that you can't do it. Go get a job. Go figure something else out. This is not for you. Because when I do it, I'm relentless. And you're not gonna work harder than me. I've sacrificed everything. Everything and everything in my life. If I told you the stories, you would be shedding
Mm-hmm.
tears and be like, damn, you're a fucked up person that you did that. Yeah, because it takes somebody who's relentless to get where I get, and I'm not even there yet. There's still people who are higher than me, but now they're all
Mm-hmm. Still
they're
going.
all in trouble. They're going to jail. So now it's like I'm right there. I'm ready to crack. And I'm not gonna let anybody stop me. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go for it because it takes a ruthless attitude. And not ruthless like I'm going to backstab anybody or do anything wrong to anybody, but it takes such a relentless attitude to wake up every day, take care of yourself, go and fight for your dream, put everybody else's thing
That's
aside
right.
and go and fight
Mm-hmm.
for you to go and win. So when you see those winners on top and people are hating on them, I always laugh because I'm like, they
Always.
have no idea what it took for that person to get there. Like you have no
Mm-hmm.
idea. Like when I look at Pitbull, I gave him an opportunity and he took it to the top. That's why him and I are such great friends. But I didn't carry his hand. I opened the door for him and he busted his ass through it. And he worked every day. And this man still works like he got no money. I'm like, Chico, you're 100 million up. And he's like, yo, I don't act like I have no money. I live in the same crib you saw me in. Like I drive two, three cars. That's it. And I work hard.
Sounds
So it's like when I tell young kids, like, yo, you have to be relentless, they look at me like, oh, okay, work hard, be relentless. No, dude, get mad. You're not gonna make it, bro. It's hard. But prove, but
Hmm.
but but prove me wrong. If you prove me wrong and I see you where I'm at, I'm gonna shake your hand out of respect because you made it. And I know what it took for you to make it. And if I said pissed you off, what came out of my mouth, the year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, I saw you, and you were watching
Right.
Mrs. B live, and I was like, nah, dude, you're not gonna make it, and you got mad at me, and you were like, I'm gonna work every day and tag him and show him that I made it. That's what I want from you. I want you to be upset because it's gonna take a different type of energy for you to even be close to anything I've done, and I still have far to go. So. I know it's a kind of like a little
Well,
reverse psychology, but I don't like people like, okay, guys, you got to work hard and you got to go kick ass. And it's like, yo, it's way more than that. It's an everyday
yeah, they think it
battle.
comes
Yeah,
easy.
and it
Right.
really does not.
And being humble. So I would have to say there's a lot of work that people think it just happens overnight, or they can look and see maybe a platform and they be like, oh, yeah, build up, do this. And they don't know. You got to put in the
I
work.
put in the work.
That's right. You say you can't depend on nobody, but you know what you do. So that way, when you look back, that you did the work.
Exactly.
Yes. So, with that being said, with everything that you've done, what would you say is the most thing that you are proud of?
Pitbull.
Because I know you still got a long way to go
Pitbull. Well, hands
for
down will
yourself.
always be that I discovered that kid and he took an opportunity and he turned it into an empire. So he will always be my best success story. But the more important part of that story is the type of person and his character. This is a human being that
Hmm.
it doesn't matter what he would ask me for, I would say yes. He could ask me for the craziest of things, and I would say yes because what we've done for each other over the years is incredible. Like it was a lot of bumpy roads. A lot of his people didn't like me because at the time it felt like I put him in a bad position, but it ended up being the decision that saved his life. And he stood by my side. Not one day did he ever say anything bad about me. Not one day did he ever cry and was like, "Oh man, Julian fucked up my career."
A questioning.
Not any day they were trying to subpoena him to come to court to basically say like he didn't know me or he wasn't working with me. Never went in. He was able to help us win the case, right? And at the time, again, everybody thought because we won it that it was going to affect them, but they were worried about them. They
Hmm.
weren't worried about Pitt. They're worried about their money. So then when we
Hmm.
won, it helped Pitt, and then everybody was like, "Oh, Julian's our friend. Oh, yeah, I'm your friend now." But he stood 10 toes down, never switched out, and that type of human being, you have to cherish people like him because he is one of the rare few human beings. To this day, I call him right now. He's still thanking me. If I was to show you, if
Genuine.
I was to show you my messages in my phone, still to this day, 20 something years later, he's still thanking me like it was yesterday. Man, thank you, bro. Thank
Hmm.
you for changing my life because had you not brought me into the record label, not to say that I wouldn't have made it, but who knows? I could be working at the mall right now. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I mean, from
Hmm.
where you are now, it could have been anything. So he will
Right.
always be, no matter what I do, no matter what hit movie I make, no matter what other artists I sign, he will always be my claim to fame as far as finding and discovering and helping somebody break.
Okay. Very nice. Yes, he gives great shows. He most definitely
Incredible
does.
human being.
Hmm. You can see it. So, where do you see yourself in the next like 5 years?
5 years, I'm gonna have my facility completed. The question is where, but I'm going to build. Next 5 years, we're just me and my partner are just cranking out movies. And when I build, I had a studio right before COVID hit, and it shut us down. I was very sad because it was such a
Hmm.
beautiful studio here in Miami. Um, but we're gonna build it from scratch this time. So either Florida or Texas or Arizona. I'm gonna figure out where I'm gonna put it, but I'm gonna build a Tyler Perry type studio
Very
but it's
nice.
going to be like a sort of like a university also, where I'm going to build a place where people can really come and stay for the rest of their life, right? They can come and they can create and they can do what they love to do and still make money. And I want to create a real home for people where how it was back in the day where, you know, it would be like your kids' worked at this company. And
Hmm.
I want to build something where it's a more safe environment where people again can just do what they love and just have a place of creators because we live now in such a social media world. You could literally have a company
That's
that
true.
all we do is social media. And movies is
Hmm.
content. Music is content. Doing TikToks is content. And it's $1 billion business. So I just want to be
Right.
able to create a place where people can just come and create and the company wins, but the person also wins at the exact same time.
Hmm.
And I feel like if a company really understands your vision and really backs you, you'll give it your all, you know.
That's right. So why not Vegas? Because you know Vegas is going to be the
I was
second
looking I was
Hollywood.
looking at yeah, I was looking at
Hmm.
Nevada also. So yeah, I'm looking. I still got a couple years away from it, but I'm definitely trying to see
Well,
where the where
we're
where
definitely
the best
growing.
spot. Yeah, no, 100%. There's a lot of big studios that are
Hmm.
moving there. So yeah,
Oh,
I'm definitely
yes.
watching it.
Okay, well, wonderful. Well, I have definitely enjoyed our interview today, and I thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be on my show. So, thank you. So, is there anything that you would like to leave or say before
No, I mean,
we
listen,
actually?
anybody want to follow me, man, feel free. All my social media is my name, Julian Booth, as you see it right here below, Julian with two L's, E at the end of Booth. Uh, at Julian Booth, you can follow me and keep up with everything that I'm working with. If you're an actor, you're a comedian, a model, influencer, artist. I'm trying to back away from the artist, but if you're super dope, I'll still check you out. Maybe I can help you. Um, so just hit me up, man.
Okay. Well, yeah, I heard it first right here.
And
So,
and
thank
and
you
thank you again
again.
for having me on the show. It's much appreciated. And anytime you need me, I'm here.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate that.
All right, later.
So, thank you, everyone. God bless you. So, thank you, everyone, for watching. God bless.